The Dragon Nest Hardcore mode is here, but what if I told you this is easier compared to its classic counterpart? Long time no see, hello. To be honest, it's so easy I could create a quick guide on how to effectively handle each mechanic from an elemental lord perspective. So, what are we waiting for? Let's start! Hello everyone, this is Knive, and right off the bat, your goal is to go straight for Serpenta's throat. So what we'll do here is to go straight and position yourself close to it. To dodge the Ice Claw, you can simply tumble in as the iframe is enough to dodge it. After an Ice Claw, Serpentra will peck 3 times, but no worries. Positioning yourself close won't hit you, so feel free to deal as much damage as you can. After its 3rd peck, quickly go to the safe spot from his breath, but the safe spot depends whether Serpentra will use its left or right claw, so watch out for that. In this phase, Serpentra's peck is very deadly because it also inflicts a poison debuff, and this cannot be removed by a cure relic. Stats wise, if your raid team can easily get Slayer title from classic mode, then this is mostly a mechanics check. Another thing to take note here is its fast slams and swipes. To deal with the slam attack, all you need to do is walk from the opposite direction of its slam. The reason we only need to walk is to reserve our tumble or blink just in case it will do a quick swipe. To summarize this phase, just avoid its pecks and you'll definitely tank most of its swipes, assuming you have a good warrior and a priest. Miracle Relic, Highlander, and howls like Howl Charging, Taunting Howl, and Havoc Howl will be the difference between a good and a bad raid party. Let's play this out until we reach phase 2, but feel free to skip using dedicated timestamps. Next is phase 2. Phase 2 is very simple. Kill Cerberus and cannon down the dragon. But don't let its simplicity deceive you because there are still mechanics involved here. This version of Cerberus has an innate 99% damage reduction from all hits. And to remove this, we need to bait Serpentra to cast Dive to it, and it will remove this buff for the next 20 seconds. In short, every dragon dive is a 20-second DPS window, but how do we trigger the dive? To trigger the dive, we need to cannon down Serpentra until 65% of each HP bar. This means clear communication with the main tank is necessary so that he can time his Divine Avatar buff, as well as to properly position the Cerberus so the rest of the squad could fully maximize the DPS window as shown here. This is another DPS check, so make sure your raid team can kill the Cerberus within 2 cycles, otherwise it will be a possible team wipe. It is very important that the group has the Highlander buff during this 20-second window because the Serpentra will still cast either the eye mechanic or spikes and could result in a team wipe without this Highlander buff. Another annoying thing is as long as the Cerberus is alive, it will also cast a roar attack that will make cannons 1, 3, or 5 have a black hole that could insta-kill one of your party members, and this will usually happen during the Ice Flake portion. So it is highly recommended to form a decently geared raid party to ensure your squad can easily clear this within 2 cycles. Once the Cerberus is dead, the group's only focus is to dodge the dive every 0.65% HP, dodge the homing spike attack, and dodge the eye mechanic. Serpentra will dive down after depleting 15 times HP bar, so watch out for that too. And that's the end of phase 2, and now we're going to the exciting part, the final phase. Welcome to the final phase of SDN Hardcore Mode, and your team only has 11 minutes to kill Serpentra. And without missing a beat, Serpentra will cast its Ice Claw followed by the Rotating Dragon Breath, or RDB for short. Unlike the classic mode, its Ice Claw has the following properties. It will follow 2 party members, assuming the HP bar is times 14 and times 12. It will follow 4 party members, and this will happen times 10 HP bar and below. It also has a delayed detonate mechanic, indicated by a red aura pulse. Once it explodes, the ice crystal will stay on the field and will damage and slow anyone who touches it. But how do we determine who will follow the Ice Claw? Good question. The furthest party member from Serpentra is the target of this chasing Ice Claw. Therefore, with this knowledge, your party can assign who's the runner. In our case, our runners were 2 warriors for times 14 and times 12, and we added a force user and acrobat for times 10 and below. But where do we lure this chasing Ice Claw? We will now introduce the use of clock positioning. To make it simple, if the main tank is at 12 o'clock, these Ice Claws should be lured at around 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock positions respectively. The 6 o'clock position must be safe from these ice crystals because this position is also a safe spot from the RDB. This fight is very scripted, so all you need to remember is for every even number HP bar, this mechanic will happen until times 4 HP bar. So what happens during odd number HP bars? Well, Serpentra still knows how to do a dragon dive, so watch out its angle to make sure you are safe. But more importantly, team members are tasked to break ice crystals that will spawn. This mechanic will only happen during times 13 and times 11 HP bars. Breaking these ice crystals is very important because it will determine how many cannons you can use to shoot down Serpentra during its eye mechanic later on. It will also explode if you don't break it on time, resulting in a huge AoE damage. Still on the topic of odd number HP bars, times 9 until times 9 HP bar won't have any dragon dive, but instead, your team will now start use cannons to shoot down Serpentra while the rest are dealing with the eye mechanic. Contrary to the classic mode, team members dealing with the eye mechanic must constantly adjust to the position of the one tasked with using the cannons to avoid getting killed. To quickly summarize what we discussed, even HP bar from times 14 to times 4, RDB mechanic. Odd HP bar from times 13 to times 11, crystal break mechanic. Times 9 to times 1, cannon eye mechanic. Other than that, this will now be a numbers game whether your team can clear this faster or not. Remember, your team only has 11 minutes to kill this thing, as this mode heavily depends on overall team investment, if even a clear is possible or not. I don't have the exact data on what the gear requirement is, but I can imagine that if your perma-raid team can easily get the Slayer title from classic mode, then your team can 100% clear this mode provided you start to tell yourself, I understand it now. So that's about it. If I missed anything or if you have additional tips on this nest, feel free to comment down below, and as always, do what works for you and always prioritize your fun. Knife out!